be able to share the ball that had traveled the world with me. It reminds me of where I came from and the simplicity of football, that football was made simple. I've had this ball since leaving Trinidad and traveling the world. Every so often on my travels I would reduce the air and I will allow it to find peace and settlement in my suitcase. Re-injecting the air when I get to my destination to play and to find joy in it. It gives me a sense of peace and allows me to know that no matter where in the world I go and I am, that the game came from a place of nothing and shouldn't be used to a greater extent, but to keep it simple. I'm so happy to share this ball after so many years with you on the platform that I have. You have kept me safe and happy. Many days when traveling the world and alone, in Vietnam, in Australia, in Belgium and in France, going from England on the boat to Belgium. I would pull it out my suitcase and juggle it on the Dover hovercraft and let it be my reminder of where I came from and where I was going. I didn't need anything special. It was a friend. It remains a friend. I was taught from my uncle Roald Nelson on his deathbed that if I look after the ball, that he would look after me and look after the life of the ones who are in love with the game, the young players who want to be great and want to be something in football, that one should speak with the ball. And I didn't quite understood what he was trying to say, but it was in the depths of my ages that and his passing that I look back and the people that I have met, mostly the Africans and the Brazilians, I learned that one must treat the ball with care, more so like a friend, a lover, and one must talk with the ball. So I remember asking my uncle, he said, "Kev, you should have been further ahead in your career at the age of 19. If I recall, and I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You should have been further ahead." He said, "Do you speak with the ball?" I was like, "Are you crazy? Are you nuts?" He's like, "No, do you speak with it?" I was like, "What do you mean? Do you talk with it? Do you juggle it? Do you spend time with it?" I said, I had no answer, but I knew I did. But what he was trying to say is, you have to be able to juggle it and let it listen to you. He said, you have to talk with the ball, literally. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Juggle it." And say, "Stay with me, darling. Stay with me." Put it in your head and tell it to stay with you. He understood that the great players of the world spend a lot of time with the ball. They were able to speak with it in ways that it listened. He talked about the great Tiger Woods and Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans of the world, the David Beckhams. He said Maradona felt it. They had spent time and they talk with the ball. Spending time, it mean that when they had extra time, they would do their homework. They would spend time at the field alone with the ball, so that when you look at them on TV, you see the David Beckhams and the Maradona and of the worlds would curl the ball into the net just like that. He said you would sit in your living room and you would be in amaze, but it's the time in which they spoke with it, they spent with it, that they had understood the secret to making the ball speak and making the ball talk. He said it's quite special what you have learned throughout this time, and he wanted to share it with me. And for a moment I think that my uncle was delusional. But what I didn't know throughout my travelings in Vietnam when I met the Brazilians, they understood the same thing and the same philosophy of the football. That the football was a living thing. That the air that we had breathed, we inject it into the ball to bring it alive. To bring happiness to people, to their families, to themselves, to the world. And they had that sense of peace. So the ball, this one, I'd spent many days, I'd shared it with the world, with friends. We had many games with this ball. And it still stays with me every day. My son asks me, Dad, why are you doing with this old ball? I said, son, the game never gets old. Time passes, but the game carries on. And the ball will carry on. And one must have a sense of respect and love. I remember my mom, I remember sleeping with the ball. And she would take the ball and throw it outside. It's like, Mom, what are you doing? Because she didn't want the ball in the bed. And I would sneak out and get the ball and wipe him off. And bring it back in under the pillow and hide it. And she would find it and just shake her head. And he had been with me ever since then till. And he have kept me peaceful and loving. And I'm able to share it with many children abroad. And many children that come into my environment and people that the football is beyond. I'm able to now talk with it and make it listen. I can put it on my head and hold it there until the cow come home. And hopefully someday we would find peace, and the game and the ball and youth development and would find peace in Canada and in Ottawa, and every child shall be able to play and share the ball, no matter color and class. That one would understand the meaning of the ball, no matter the old one, the new one, and they would understand the simplicity of the football. It doesn't have to be a new ball or the Adidas ball or the Nike ball or the colorful ball. Just a ball. I remember as a little boy, the ball was when I didn't have a ball, I'd use a cling pan and anything that we can kick would be the ball. And the ball is like the world. In every ball there's white, there's black. If you really check the ball,